The 1990s was arguably the peak decade for automotive gearheads, with vastly iconic supercars from that era and more. Supercars shaped and changed the automotive world forever. The Bugatti EB110, Jaguar XJ220, McLaren F1, and the list continues. Cars like these quickly earned a title on the streets for what they've accomplished. They attract us gearheads to care for, dream to own, and drive them. There is one forgotten legend of a car that almost nobody mentions until you bring it up. Most car enthusiasts outside the UK at least know the car company TVR, and TVR has a fantastic history of making a lot of interesting cars. They built the most outrageous British supercar ever that was far superior to the McLaren F1 and more vicious than the Dodge Viper. The TVR Cerbera Speed 12 is the wildest car that the company ever produced in the late 1990s, and I don't mean wild lightly. The greatest supercar ever made in the 1990s was the McLaren F1 until the Speed 12 showed up. Despite the McLaren F1 coming out first, the Cerbera Speed 12 is far superior to it. Sadly, when built, the car never got to show what it was truly capable of on the roads in terms of speed and performance. Initially, the car was named Project 7/12, referring to the 7 liters and 12 for the number of cylinders in the engine. The car debuted in 1996 at the Birmingham Motor Show and stood out, attracting a bunch of crowds than any other cars at the show. In 1998, it was called the Cerbera Speed 12, a purpose-built GT1 race car to take on the mighty likes of McLaren, Mercedes, and Porsche GT1s in the FIA GT Championship and 24 Hours of Le Mans. However, the GT1 rules had changed, and pure prototypes like these made the Speed 12 obsolete to compete in that category of racing. So, the Speed 12 only competed in the British GT Championship and had some success with victories. For the engineers' 2-year hard work to not go to waste, they planned to make a few road-going Speed 12s that could destroy the McLaren F1. The road-legal Speed 12 used a 2-frame chassis with fiberglass and carbon fiber bits that resulted in weighing less than 2,200 pounds, roughly the same as the first-generation Mazda Miata. Unlike the BMW-powered McLaren F1, TVR didn't source an engine from another manufacturer for the Cerbera Speed 12. TVR built the humongous naturally aspirated 7.7-liter V12 out of its 2 inline sixes welded together. No joke. This is the largest and most powerful V12 engine in the world to be fitted in a road car today. The engineers put the V12 on a dyno rated at 1,000 horsepower, but the power was so intense that it wrecked the dyno, so they tested one bank of cylinders at a time. However, no true performance stats were officially given, but it allegedly produced anywhere between 800 to 880 horsepower with engine tuning tweaks to make it usable on streets. This engine is mated with a 6-speed sequential gearbox and has a bespoke block fabricated from steel and a dual overhead cam. The Speed 12 was alleged to originally rocket 0 to 60 miles per hour from a standstill in 2.9 seconds and reach a record-breaking top speed of over 240 miles per hour while weighing 1,000 kilograms. Although those figures weren't backed up by official tests, TVR concluded the fact that the Speed 12 could have done over 240 miles per hour and beat the McLaren F1, therefore making it the fastest road car on the planet. The crazy fact that doing 240 naturally aspirated is unreal in this day of age. By late 2000, customers had ordered the Speed 12 and only 4 prototypes were produced. One day, Peter Wheeler, who is no stranger to very powerful supercars, took one home to test the car. When he did, he felt that the car was way too powerful, too tough to drive on public roads, and should only be driven by professional race car drivers. Therefore, the production plans were scrapped and customer funds were given back. But later, TVR decided to rebuild a one-off street-legal Speed 12 race car to sell it. It was sold to a private buyer, Peter Wheeler, an ex-owner of TVR who later passed away in 2009. The Cerbera Speed 12 is the wildest TVR ever to be unleashed on the streets. It could be seen as the UK's Dodge Viper on steroids because of its character. It is long-hooded, wide, absurd, all analog with a lack of safety equipment that makes it seem so dangerous for anyone to drive her. The Speed 12 has an enormous engine that generates a ton of power and torque. No driving aids, and more importantly, no airbags make it instantly illegal in the United States. Today, the only street-legal Cerbera Speed 12 has a massive wheel wing and diffuser that creates downforce like the FIA GT1 race cars. It's got the classic base Cerbera design with major distinctions. Its much fiercer tail design and wide flare fenders define aggression. The Cerbera Speed 12 is truly a work of art, beautiful yet terrifyingly fast and hostile to anyone who drives the machine that can catch prey. The Speed 12 was the most expensive TVR car ever built, selling for hundreds of thousands, deeming it as the ultimate flagship of the wildest car company, TVR. Despite being extremely underrated and never sold to the public nor setting official world records, the Speed 12 deserves a medal for experimenting to be the ultimate road legal supercar. Unlike its direct competitor it was aiming for, the Speed 12 is super duper rare, unheard of, and a forgotten legend. Only a small handful of gearheads heard about this car and want to have one so bad, but in reality, we can only wish to have one. Many of you who played racing games might have discovered this car. The Speed 12 is virtually heroic and handled like a wild animal in racing games of the all-time classic Gran Turismo and Forza. Even though this car was very unknown in racing games too, at least you can sit down in your living room and virtually drive this car in a video game. In my opinion, I don't think anything beats it as far as how handful this machine can be. What we do know is that there won't be another ruthless car like this Cerbera Speed 12 ever again. So this brings us to the end of the video. I would love to read your thoughts in the comments down below about this legendary car. If you did enjoy this video, you can get more by liking this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. It makes a huge difference. Once again, thank you all for watching and have a blessed day. Peace out, stay safe, Chris the Radar, out.